I'm just walking around just to see like how beautiful everything is. At 6:29, this is when I'm standing behind the DJ. We look in the sky and we just can't believe what we're seeing. It's thousands of rockets in the sky. They just drive 5-6 pickup trucks with machine guns on the pickup truck on the back, just driving towards us, shooting everywhere. I got hit. The bullet went through the car door, through my right leg into my left. A second later, I pick up the phone and I just think about I have to call her back just to make sure she didn't hear. And the phone is all of the phone like full of blood. I don't want 411 to be the number that defines that this will be the number of Nova. They're faces. These are friends. I want everyone to know their names.
We felt like you are our family. We wanted to help you. We wanted to know you guys are okay.
This didn't only happen to us. This happened to every Jew around the world. This is part of our story. It's our story, October the 7th. But it's not only our story. When we come together and we take this, this pain and turn it into purpose and healing and taking care of each other, only magic can happen.
Welcome to another episode of What the Falafel. Now, October the 7th completely changed everyone's lives everywhere, but there's one person that can really tell it from, I guess, the lived experience. We've all heard of Nova, and here to tell the tale of the Nova Festival is Ofir Amir. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Now, you have quite an, incredible story, because not only did you set up Nova, but you were there on the day. Can you tell us, what was your life before October the 7th?
It was, I sometimes forget about this life before. But yeah, it's a whole different lifetime. So I was born in Germany. I grew up there. I moved to Israel when I was young. And many years later, after going to university and I opened a bar. I was a few years in the nightlife. I promoted events, festivals. I had my own bars and restaurants. And while doing the nightlife in Israel, I also opened a real estate company with my older brother in Berlin. So my life was between Tel Aviv, Berlin, real estate and parties. And 10 years ago, a group of friends, my friends from Tel Aviv, we decided that we want to create our own brand, to build our community. We all share the same values, and we love music, we love the dance floor, we love to go to festivals together. So this is how we started our company. The first brand is called Tzat Neshama. It means a little bit for the soul. This was the first brand that we created, and we've been doing small gatherings, small festivals, creating our community. When I say community, it means that it wasn't just a party where you buy tickets and go home. It was very important for us that our values will be also part of this community. The respect for one another, to be kind, to help others. So also part of this was going to volunteer at hospitals on holidays, and we work with another foundation that is taking care of people with special needs. So we go there on Fridays once a month and do like a small party with this foundation. And so over the years, this community grew to over 15,000 people, and then COVID happened. Yeah. And right after COVID, and also during COVID, we did a lot of like Zoom parties. We have the best DJs, in the trance music scene, the best DJs in the world. They're from Israel. So we went to their home, built up like a small studio, and did like a Zoom party with 1,000 people going on Zoom, having, it was special.
There's all the trance music, right?
Yeah. So you see 1,000 people logging in on it. It was insane. Like we were from all over the world.
What, just partying at home?
Just partying at home.
Love that.
And right after COVID, we said, okay, now it's time. We want to do the biggest festivals in Israel. And with the first brand, we did only like day parties, Saturday noon until the night. But now we want to do festivals, 24 hours, 2 days. So this is how we started Nova. It started right after COVID. And until October the 6th, we have done like around 14 Nova festivals. Wow. It started very small with 500 people, and then it grew to around 4,000 people.
That's huge. And so you, well, I guess the one from October. When did it start? On October the 6th?
It started on October the 6th at 11 p.m. and was supposed to go until October the 7th, Saturday, 7 p.m. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people have been saying, why did you do it so close to the Gaza border? But you thought it was safe and you got permits and everything else. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. First of all, you have 100,000 people living there in this area, the kibbutzim, the villages. It's, our country is very small. And we've done a few festivals in this area before. And 2 weeks after October 7th was supposed to be Israeli Burning Man, the Midburn, in the same area. Not in the same ground, but like 10 minutes away from there. The team of the Burning Man already started the production started already to work on the grounds, like 5 miles from there. And one of the production team of the Burning Man also got murdered on that day. So it's a beautiful place in Israel, and a lot of festivals are being out there in this area, and we did it before. So, and of course we got the permits. You have the police, you have the army. Everyone comes and comes there, sees the plans, and we got permits to do this, like all the festivals we've done before.
So in your mind, everything was good, nothing to worry about. You turn up. Did you get there, or did I hear that you were having Shabbat dinner, so you weren't there at the start of the festival?
Yeah, so it was Sukkot dinner.
Sukkot.
It was Sukkot. Okay. It was also Shabbat. It was Friday. And Lior, my wife, she was 9 months pregnant on that day. So I didn't, all the other co-founders and producers of the festival already got there, on Thursday to build everything. And my role in this company is more the back office and managing the budget and I'd say a little bit more the boring stuff. But I didn't want to leave on Friday noon. I didn't want to leave Lior for 2 days. So I decided I will stay the night and I will wake up at 3 a.m. and then I will go there. So I arrived at 5 a.m. on a Saturday.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
So you got there on the Saturday. And can you tell me what happened? How did things unfold?
Yeah, so I arrived at 5 a.m. and I remember this feeling when I got there. I walked through the entrance and you first walk through the camping area and it was still dark and everything is it was so beautiful. You see everyone is smiling, everyone, you don't know. I know a lot of people at our festivals, but there's so many that I don't know. And, everyone smiles at you and you feel so comfortable, you feel so happy, you feel the energy, you feel the vibe. The camping area, it's like another festival within the festival. And people come and set up their tents and it's like they build a home for the next 24 hours. When I was young and we used to go to festivals, it was like bringing a tent. Most of the time we didn't even build it and, just put our stuff there. And now they, these kids, they invest so much time and energy and just to make their beautiful camping site. It's and then I walk through the dance floor and, I had to cross the dance floor to get to the, behind the DJ just to put my stuff there. And, you walk through, everyone lets you pass. It's not like too crowded. Everyone respects one another. So it was really magical. So the first hour I'm just walking around just to see like how beautiful everything is. And most of my friends, they planned only to come for the sunrise. So I had time to do a little production, just to walk through and see how the production is. And I actually waited for them to come to start the party. I always work until the doors open, and then I try to have fun at my events. So
And everyone's still partying at like 5 a.m. when you got there. You're crossing the dance floor. There are people on the dance floor.
It was like 4,000 people already there.
Wow.
People, like most of the attendees come at, at 12 once we opened the doors. So at 5 a.m. when I got there, it was already 4,000 people there. The dance floor was insane, the whole festival. And there was the main stage and the smaller stage, the mushroom stage. This is another production that we did the festival together. And of course, we collabed with the biggest festival in Brazil, which is called Universo Paralelo. I think it's the first time they came to Israel to do this festival with us. So it was a big deal for us, because to host them in Israel and then Nova becomes also a brand that it's known in the global festival, trance music festival scene. So it was a big deal for us. And at 6:29, this is when I'm standing behind the DJ in the backstage of like the production, and I start to hear this noise. And I walk to the front with another producer, with Raz. We look in the sky and we just can't believe what we're seeing. It's thousands of rockets in the sky, and we see the Iron Dome, like rockets being shot at us, and Iron Dome just keeps us safe and shooting down the rockets. And he asked me, "Do you think they will shut us down? The police, do you think they will turn off the music and close the festival?" And when you live in Israel, unfortunately, we're used to rockets. And imagine in which country in the world you see rockets in the sky and someone asks you, "Do you think the festival will continue?" Like, it doesn't exist in any country in the world. And I'm answering him, well, this is what we have the Iron Dome for, no? To keep us safe, so we can dance, so we can continue our life. And because I remember a few months earlier, I was in Tel Aviv at a huge concert, Aviv Geffen, a huge concert, 40,000 people, I think. And we look at it and we see in the skies rockets, and they're being shut down by the Iron Dome. And the concert continued. So that was my thought. So I didn't even finish my sentence, and I see immediately the police officers come running to the stage, telling the DJ to turn off the music, telling everyone, there are rockets in the sky. When you hear the sirens, you have only 15 seconds to lay down or to get to safety. The festival is over. Please, everyone, get to your cars and drive home.
At that point, did you realize it was maybe a bit more serious than you had first thought?
Totally not, because my friend, like I told you, my friends planned to come to the sunrise. So one of my best friends, he just got to the parking area, and he calls me and he tells me, like, what's going on? Like, the police won't let them in the parking area. And I tell him, look, there are rockets, like, you see them, but like, let's see what will happen in like 30 minutes. Maybe it will stop and they will let us continue, because, it's also not safe to send 4,000 people after they dance all night, and drinking and consuming, and to send them to their cars and drive in this situation. So I tell him, okay, listen, like, turn around, but don't drive too far, because, if this will not continue, we'll go to a friend that lives not far away, and, all the production, all our friends, we will enjoy the day. So this was the last time I spoke to him on that day, because I was sure he turned around and just drove home. So we had no idea what's going to happen next, and how serious this is. I live in the center of Israel, and okay, we get rockets, we get sirens, but we know that in the south, it's much worse in this area, whoever lives there. So I've never seen what really actually is happening in the South. So I saw the rockets. It didn't look for me like something unusual. But again, of course, when you see this, it's unusual, and your mind doesn't want to believe. We worked so hard to create this festival, and you don't want to believe that you're in danger, and you don't want this to be over. It's like, it's like you have the best dream, and then suddenly someone wakes you up into a nightmare, and it takes time to understand that. So immediately, like all the production, all the producers, we stayed there, and like our first action was to have the police evacuate everyone. So part of us, we go to the parking area just to see that people get into their cars and drive safe outside the parking area, and then we regroup again next to the bar to understand, okay, what will we do next? And there are always rockets, but we didn't hear any sirens, so we could still like operate, and we start to talk about, okay, who will stay here, because like the festival is over. We realize it's not gonna continue. We need to leave security guards because we have a lot of equipment and the sound and the stage and everything. And this was already around 7:15, like 45 minutes after the rocket started. And then we see two security guards running fast towards us. So one of the co-founders, Yagil, is also in charge of the security company. So they come to him, they tell him, listen, there are two or three injured people. They got shot at, and they're now rushed to the paramedic station. At the festival, we have a paramedic station and police station. And he didn't even think twice. I just saw like everything turned black, and he just ran with the security officers to the main road. He understood that something is going on. And also, like, again, you don't want to believe that something bad is happening. I thought maybe it's, criminal. Yeah. Maybe someone, but then we understand that then the manager of the bar, Liron Barda, comes to us crying and yelling that her bartender, her worker, is on the way home and he got shot at on the way. So we understand that these are terrorists, that there are terrorists. And then one of my best friends, who's also a DJ, Kido, also comes to us and tells us his girlfriend is on his way and she got shot on the way to the festival. Unfortunately, also Liron Barda and also Kido got murdered on that day. And then I call immediately. I remember I asked Kido, okay, send me the location where she got shot, because Gal, my wife's brother, my brother-in-law, he was also at the festival. For years, I tell him to come to the festivals. For years, and I always he gives me the names. I sign them up. They have free tickets, and they never come. And this time, they decided to come. So I immediately call him, and I'm telling him, Gal, I know there's been some shooting on the way home, like north. Don't drive this way. Drive the other direction. Just wanted to make sure that he's fine. Lucky he survived. Him and all of his friends.
He ran, didn't he?
He ran, yeah.
There's hours.
Yeah, so when the rocket started, like moments later, the terrorists already got to Sderot. This is one of the villages, and the police station is there in Sderot. So the police station got attacked. So the police officers understood really fast what's going on. They knew that there are terrorists attacking the police station, so they blocked the main road. So the people that drove away from the festival, they were the first ones to get to the junctions in Reim and Be'eri. They are the first ones who got hit by the terrorists. And then the second cars and third cars, who managed, like most of them, they turned around and came back to the festival area. And the police saw this, so they blocked the main road. And then there was a big traffic jam, like to get out of the festival, because you couldn't go drive anywhere. So the police told everyone, just leave their cars. They call it like the golden hour, because between 7 and 8 in the morning, this is when most of the people got rescued or survived or ran for their lives. They told them, cross the street. There was only one main road. Cross the main road and just run towards east. And there are a lot of famous videos when you see everyone running in the open fields. So this is this. Most of the people that ran that direction survived, and also Gal, my brother-in-law, also other producers, other founders of the festival, they ran this direction, and many didn't survive running there because they just drove there with the motorcycles. One terrorist is driving, the other one sits in the back and just shoots in the crowd, just driving back and forth and shooting at people. So we start to get the news of more and more shootings, and we start to hear the shootings. The bullets are getting closer, and even then, at like 7 a.m., my wife calls me, or like at 6:50, before 7, she called me, and I ask her, "Why are you awake?" Just so you understand, like how I didn't understand what's going on. Like, why are you awake at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, 9 months pregnant? I left you at 3 a.m. and you were still awake. And she says, we're in the bomb shelter. And then I realized, okay, what I see here, it's also in Tel Aviv. And she said, listen, it's all over the country. And even then, it was like, okay, it will finish soon and I will let you know, like, what I'm going to do next. At 8:15, around 8:15, this is when I understand, okay, it's real. This is happening. They came with like 5 or 6 pickup trucks. We know for sure that today we know that they didn't know about the festival. Like, they didn't hear the festival in Gaza and said, okay, there's a festival, let's attack them. It was too far away. And they didn't know that there was a festival. These terrorists who came, this unit, it was like really an organized combat unit that they had maps to go to Ofakim, to another village. They missed the turn, and this is how they got to the festival. They first killed all the police officers that blocked the main road and kept us safe with RPGs. These are hand missiles and grenades, and there wasn't even a battle. It was like 5 minutes and they already killed most of them. And then they just drive 5-6 pickup trucks with machine guns on the pickup truck on the back, just driving towards us, shooting everywhere. There were a lot of festival goers on the main road hiding. Many didn't leave their cars. Many stayed there. Many stayed behind the police. They were afraid to run. So everyone that was on the main road and saw them came running towards us back to the festival.
Where were you at the time? You were still in the festival?
I was, at that time, we knew already there's a lot of danger around us, so we gathered everyone that stayed. Again, not everyone went to their cars. A lot of people stayed at their camping site, at their camping area, and said, okay, we wait for the missiles to pass and then we'll go home. Like, I don't want to be stuck in the jam. So we told everyone, listen, it's dangerous. Come to the command station, to the police station with the paramedic station, and come there. And we gathered everyone there, and this is the closest spot to the main road. So we see them driving towards us, just shooting into the crowd of people that run together with them.
You saw them come.
Yeah, we see them just, it's also a field, and they're with their pickup trucks. They come from every direction, and I see the people from a distance. It's not that far away. It's like 500, less than a kilometer away, to the main road, like 500 meters. So I see them running. I see them. The bullets start to hit next to us. So everyone that was with us, next to me, we get up and we run to the opposite direction. We run through the dance floor, through the festival, and then to the other side. This was the parking area. So there I see my friend with the car, I see other friends. We take as many as we can and we jump into the car. And you have to understand, like, the festival, it got fences around and the fences are covered. So once I got to the parking area, I didn't see what's going on inside. And this whole time, even when we saw them and we jump into the car and we're now in the parking area, we know that, not far away from Gaza, and the army is everywhere. It's supposed to be here. They know that we are here. They know they gave us a permit. And so for the next hour between like 8:15 and 9, we know already, I speak also to my father over the phone, and we know, like in the media, there was still a mess. Like no one knew what's going on, but we knew that terrorists entered Israel. We knew they have white pickup trucks, because this is what they saw on TikTok, and with motorcycles, and that they have taken already some soldiers hostages. So from that moment when we're in the car, we didn't know where to go. We know the terrorists are on the main road, so we can't go there. And we tried to drive through the fields, and every time we started to get to the fields, we saw cars in the distance, and like we are now in survival mode, and everyone that we see is a terrorist from that moment. So for the next hour, we drive back and forth in this parking area. We see other cars approaching us, so we drive away from them. We stop, we get out of the car, we do like 360 around the car to see from where they're coming, if they're coming, just to know where to escape. And
all the while you're on the phone to your wife who's 9 months pregnant, just saying, it's okay, don't worry.
Yeah,
right.
and this whole time I speak to her like every 5 or 10 minutes, and thank God there was a mess. Like the media didn't know what's going on, because this is the only way I could keep her safe and tell her, yeah, it's fine. Listen, we're here. The police is next to us with guns, and don't worry, we're in a safe place. We're next to the police, and we're trying to get to a safer place. And for the next 5 hours, this is what I tell her, and also other friends of mine that didn't come to the festival, because I didn't answer anyone. I answered only my wife, I answered my father, and one time I answered the ticketing company, because they needed approval from my friend to get all the data of all the ticket buyers, because they had like this command, and they built like this emergency room, my friends, just to try to allocate everyone and find everyone. And so that was the only one I answered. But so I didn't answer anyone, and they called my wife, and Lior was, and everyone tells me, Lior was like all the time, yes, he's fine, he's safe, like don't worry. She was like so chilled this whole time, and I didn't give her any reason to worry. And she spoke to her brother a few times, and he was always worried about me, and she always told him like, no, feel safe, don't worry, it's all good. So
I don't know how you managed to do that, just while you're literally being in a situation where you're running from terrorists, and you have this thought in your mind, I've got to keep her safe.
I don't know, like I don't know how it went, like why I decided to do that, but of course I know. I didn't want her to worry. I didn't want her to go into labor. I know that if I tell her that, look, they're terrorists, they're shooting at us, or I got injured, or I might die, that she will lose it. Yeah. She will lose it, and God forbid get into labor too early, 4 weeks too early, and that was my thought. So after 50, like almost an hour driving back and forth, we see big van also driving very fast, coming from the main road, like towards us. Then we see it's a police car. So we drive to him. We ask the officer, like, what's going on? He said, listen, it's a mess. No one knows, where should we go? Can we go? No. And he just says, follow me. So we drive after him through the fields. Again, don't know where to go. At the beginning, we drive towards Gaza, towards west, and then it's lucky we were in an SUV, because it was like sandy, and like a lot of a regular car couldn't drive there. So I think like 20 minutes driving through the fields, driving back and forth, and seeing terrorists in a distance, and just again at the end we tried just to get back to the main road, because we didn't know what's going on the main road. And moments before we reached the main road, right next to Reim Junction, this is when we see 5 terrorists They were hiding. They were waiting for us. And when they saw us, immediately opened fire. And even then, we see them, and we were sure that less than a second, maybe these are IDF soldiers. They looked like IDF soldiers with their gear, they put IDF soldiers' clothes on, but then you see their machine guns. It's different than the soldiers that we have, and you see their headbands, and immediately they open fire. I got hit. The bullet went through the car door, through my right leg into my left. And I was speaking to Leo on that moment on the phone. I dropped the phone, and I remember like the first thought was, like, of course, everyone is yelling in the car, and the glass is smashed, and everyone's yelling like, terrorists, drive, tell the driver to continue to drive. And a second later, I pick up the phone, and I just think about, I have to call her back just to make sure she didn't hear. And the phone is all of the phone like full of blood. So I clean it on my pants because I can't open it. It's not working. So I cleaned all my pants, and I call her. I hear her reaction. She says, "Is everything fine?" And said, "Yeah, everything is good. We're driving with the police to a safe place. I call you back." And
meanwhile, you've got a bullet through your leg.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I think, the adrenaline, like a lot of people ask me, do you felt it when you got shot because of the adrenaline and stuff? And yes, I felt it. It was a bullet of an AK-47, and I felt the pain immediately. My leg was numb. I couldn't move it from the first moment. It felt like like 1,000 blades are stabbing my leg. And we continued driving.
How many of you were in the car?
We were 4 sitting in the back and 2 in the front. Okay. My friend next to me, I tell him immediately, take off your shirt and stop the bleeding. Press as hard as you can. I didn't know it went through. I didn't know it was in my left leg. Well, I actually realized the bullet was in my left leg 2 days later when I got into surgery, and the doctor told me we're doing surgery in your right leg and left. And then I said, what do you mean left? Because there was a wound on my left leg, but because of the pain, I only concentrated on the right. I thought I got cut by a glass or something. And then he presses like this in this spot, and I yelled and I said, this is a fraction of the bullet in your leg. We have to operate and take it out. And I had no idea for 2 days. Because they put a bandage on it, and so we continue driving. We get to the main road, and then we see more terrorists. This time they shot us from the front. The driver takes a left turn north, like back towards the festival. So we were driving like in a circle from the festival to the main road, and then we drive back, and then he drives in the main road, and then at this time it was really blurry. I was really like between fainting, passing out, and I tell them, please tell no one that I got shot. Tell no one. I don't want Leo to know. And this time, then I hear like they filled me these gaps. We're driving next to burned cars and bodies already on the main road. Then we drive a little bit further, and then a terrorist jumps out to the road with an RPG.
Sorry, for people like me, what's an RPG?
RPG is like a hand missile. You hold it like this, you press a button, and the missile goes out. It's against tanks and cars, and it's like taking a grenade, but like 10 times stronger.
Right.
Maybe more. So
you're driving.
So
they
it's
jump
shooting.
out.
So when a missile like this hits the car's exploding.
Right.
So he shoots at us. I hear everyone yelling RPG. He's shooting at us. The RPG misses us, but it hits the police car that was driving next to us the whole time. It gets through the windows and explodes outside the police car. So, and in the police car, this van, there were 3 of my friends. So luckily, they were lying so low because it's flying and it has a backfire. It has a fire. So when it flies over you, the backs got burned from the backfire of the missile.
But it missed, like it.
It went through the windows, and it didn't explode when it hit. Usually, when it hits something, it explodes.
Yeah.
But it hit the windows. It went in and out the windows, and it exploded outside. So, so luckily they all survived. And then Igal, my friend who's driving, he yells that the car's not driving anymore. The engine probably also got hit by the bullets before when the terrorists shot at us. So he takes a turn into back to the field, and we drive with the car until it stops, and then a whole different story starts. We are stuck there with the car. Everyone gets out of the car and trying to get. One of my friends is jumping on a tree, hiding in the tree. Everyone tries to hide somewhere, but first they attend me, and then I realized that also Amit, that was sitting in front of me, he also got hit by the same bullets. So they tried to take me out of the car. I realized that there's too much pain, and if they move me, I will pass out, and if I pass out, I can't answer Leo, and that was the only thing I could think about. So I tell them, just leave me next to the car on the floor. And then I'm lying there. First of all, I put another tourniquet because I saw that also bleeding in my inner thigh. So I'm lying there. And then I see Amit lying next to me. He got badly wounded. He got shot in his back and in his neck. And unfortunately, after 2 hours lying next to me, he died. He saw that I'm speaking to Leo on the phone, so he asked me to call his mother. So he gives me a number. I call his mother. He tells her 5 times, I love you, I love you, I love you. He hangs up, and moments later he died. And while I'm lying there, suddenly I see, other kids from the festival come out from the bushes, come down from the trees, and checking up on me. And they do this for the next three or 4 hours, every 10 minutes. Come 22 years old, 25 years old, risking their own lives, coming out of their hiding and checking up on me. And one is, you have to also understand, we're still in a battlefield. You hear the bombs, you hear grenades. It wasn't even a question what will happen if they come. It was like, when they come, what should we do? The terrorists, because we know they're close, they're next to us, and it's hot. It's like, 30 degrees. The mouth is dry. We've been running and escaping for the last 2-3 hours and don't have any water. And these kids, they go to a tree, take an orange, peel it so I can suck on an orange and then have some taste in my mouth and some to get hydrated. And like after the first moments when I'm lying there, Omri Sassi, also one of the co-founders and my best friend, and he tells me, Ofir, listen, I'm going to hide over there, like run across the field, try to look for help. The terrorists are over here. You stay here and you play dead. You are dead. And like I said, it wasn't even a question if they come. So for the first hour, I'm trying to calm myself, also to not lose blood. I was in the army, so I have a little bit medical training. So just calm myself and do like these breathing exercises and always making sure when the kids come, making sure that I'm not bleeding out. And I take blood from my leg and I put it on my face and I start to rehearse like how to play dead when they come. And what should I do if they take me? If they take me hostage, what should I do? Should I open the tourniquet and then bleed out and die, or should I let them take me hostage? These are the thoughts that go through your mind. Like, what is better? Like, because till that day, hostages that don't go to Gaza, they don't come back. And Gilad Shalit, he was a soldier, and it took 5 years until he returned home. But the chances of returning home, it's like 0. So what should I do? Um,
Did you ever answer that question in your head? Did you made a decision?
Thank God I didn't have to answer that.
But when you were going through that in your head?
Look, this is a question that was always there, because our hostages, also my friends that were taken hostages, the ones that were taken and released after 2 years, and after a few months, after 6 months, after a year, you ask yourself, because you see their families, you see the bereaved families, and you see the families of the hostages, and there is no right answer. Is it like, for some of them after a year, was it like to know that that like some of them have no idea if their kid is alive or dead in Gaza. They knew he's in Gaza, but what was better, to know that he's dead in Gaza, and then you have the relief of and what kind of relief is it? It's not a relief. And instead of families that know, like the not knowing, I think that's the hardest part of this whole story of not knowing. And also between us, the survivors, when I got to hospital the days after, also Gal, Leo's brother, and everyone wanted, from the survivors, especially families of the victims, but survivors, we wanted to know exactly where were you at 7:14, where were you at 7:15. Everyone needed this piece of information. Psychologists explain it that, just to take back control, to know what happened. But like this information of what happened, this was all we discussed. Like, not what happened to you, how you survived. I have many friends that survived together with me, around me, and we never heard each other's stories. Because we never asked about that, because we know, like, we don't have to ask about this, but we asked, like, where were you? How did you, escape? Were you running? Were you driving? Like, just to understand if I would have taken a different choice or a different path, maybe I would have survived differently. Maybe I wouldn't have been injured. And, for many days, for the first few weeks, like before we drove with the police car, my friend was hiding there in this parking area. His name is Maimon, and he was hiding there. And then when the police car came, I told him, Maimon, come, get into the car. And he got also shot. He got shot in his thigh, in his butt, and the bullet is still there, and he also got killed. And I felt guilty for a few weeks, thinking that if I wouldn't call him, and if we stayed there, he won't get shot. This was my thought. And then weeks later, I understand, because you get all these pieces of information, then you see footage of the terrorists from the cameras, from the security cameras, the terrorists getting to the parking area, like moments after we drove away, and just, burning cars and shooting everyone that was hiding there. And for a while I felt guilty, but this information that I got, so I understand that, we saved each other's life. So there is no right answer.
No, of course.
There is no right answer. And after the first hour, I felt like that, okay, maybe they will not come. And then I got a call. Of course, I sent my location to everyone, to Leo. I told to my father, told him, this is where we're hiding. Send rescue to come and pick us up from here. I didn't even tell my father that I got shot. And then I got a phone call from the police. They called me. They said, we know where you're hiding. We sent you an SMS just to prove it, so we can locate, your exact position on the GPS. And we will come and rescue you, but we don't know when. Even this, but that I knew that the police knew where we are, it gave me a little bit of hope that, okay, maybe I will make it. It's changed something in me. So then for the next 2 hours, I'm just the first 2 hours I was still with adrenaline. But the next 2 hours I was always like between like passing out and coming back and talking on the phone and imagine myself, okay, if I feel like I will survive this, I feel like the rescue will come, and then, I will probably lose my leg because I can't feel. I can't. It was totally paralyzed. I couldn't move it. I will probably lose my leg, and I imagine myself, how will I be a father with one leg, and just picture myself, managing even with one leg and be the best father to Eliana. Um, and then I hear these kids, these amazing kids, um, in the bushes yelling that we see cars. There are cars coming. And then one of them says, okay, let's go. And then the other one says, no, but maybe these are terrorists. And, even this dilemma, thinking about, should I be first and to get rescued first? Or if I get to be the first one, maybe I will get killed the first. So lucky this is already around 1 p.m. Lucky it was the rescue. These were civilians who risked their lives the whole day and saved hundreds of people from the festival and from the villages, and the heroes of that day. They immediately picked me up. I woke up in the car. I was rushed. Unfortunately, they only took people that are alive. So Amit, that was lying a few meters next to me, they left him there. They couldn't take bodies. They're not allowed to. It's like, forensic and all this stuff. But, and unfortunately, it took I think 5 days until the family got the official notice from the police that their son was murdered. The official notice. So they took me first with a pickup truck to one of the villages, put me in an ambulance. And when I knew that I'm on the way to the hospital and that I will make it, that I will survive, that this is when I called Leo and told her, listen, I have something to tell you. Don't worry, I'm safe. I'm on the way to the hospital. I got shot in my leg, but don't worry, I'm fine. And she reacted, even with these words, she reacted exactly how I knew she will react. I could hear in her voice how she's like falling down on the floor and crying and yelling. And
am I right in thinking that you phoned either her dad or someone first to make sure they were there?
Yeah, like 30 minutes before I called my father, I told him, okay, listen, don't tell anyone, but I got shot, but I'm safe, and the rescue is supposed to come. This was 30 minutes earlier, and then before I called her father just to prepare him also. And I told also my father to get our parents live close to each other, so I told him to get there also, just to make sure that she won't, they have to be prepared for this. So I told her, she reacted like she reacted, and I finished my sentence, and my phone died. The battery died, which also I got lucky that I still had battery at around 1 p.m. just to tell her that, because if I'm lying there and not answering, that's a whole different story. So I get to the hospital. There I see my friends that were in the other car. They also all survived. It was like, crashing cars in the ER, so many people injured in beds. And one of my friends said, I still remember the moment that I saw you coming in the stretcher, and you were smiling. And he always asked me, how did you smile? And I always give him the same answer. I saw that you're alive. And that gave me every reason to smile. And then I saw another friend that survived, and another one, and we are all injured and getting into scans and X-rays, and my friend takes my phone and charges this, and because it was still war zone, only Leo couldn't come to. It was in Beersheba in Soroka hospital. She couldn't come. My father and my brother came to the hospital, and it was such a mess there, and the doctor they took really good care of me, but the doctor said, listen, you have a split, like a part of a bullet in your leg. You don't need surgery. You can live with it. And that's it. I said, okay, but look, all the wounds are still open. Like you put only bandages on. You're going to sew it. So I said, listen, if I give you an anesthesia, like a shot, it will hurt more than if I just take this clipper and clip it. And I say, okay, just go for it. Like it's so he clips the wounds, puts bandage, and when my father came, what they did is like everyone come to this hospital, but then they send you to a hospital next to your home. So the next evening on Sunday night, we waited for an ambulance, and then, we gave up. We ordered a private ambulance so he take me to a hospital next to our house. And then I got there at like 11 p.m., I think. And this is the first time, like, I saw, until that moment, my brother and my father were with me 24 hours. And then this is the first time when I saw Lior again. And my mother and my sister and her family, all of them came to the hospital. I'm getting into the ER, and then the doctor immediately looks at the scans and then everything and says, okay, you're gonna get into surgery now. And then it's the whole thing with the bullet, when I realized it was also my left leg.
Oh, at that point.
At that point, only at that point.
Wow. That's a long time to not know you've got a bullet in your leg.
Yeah, it's because really, like, the brain only focused on the right leg. It was like, couldn't move it. And then I got into the surgery, and 1 hour after the surgery, I could already walk with crutches. It was like we were really surprised, because they told me, like, because still my leg was paralyzed. I couldn't move my toes, my leg. It was like drop foot. But still, I could walk with crutches, which was a good sign. And 4 days later, I was released home already.
Wow.
And the whole 4 days, Leo, 9 months pregnant, stayed and slept with me in the hospital. The first night, she slept like on pillows on the floor because they didn't bring a mattress. And then, she didn't leave me for like 1 second even.
How many weeks off giving birth was she at that point?
Exactly 4 weeks.
Wow.
She gave birth 4 weeks after, exactly 4 weeks later on a Saturday, at like, I think 5 a.m. Yeah.
And you had your beautiful little girl.
Our beautiful, amazing little Eliana, our light, our everything. She became like, she changed everything for me, for us, but also for so many of my friends and the community. She's like the Nova baby. After she got born, she came to the healing center with me, and then to the exhibition in Tel Aviv, and it was like everyone who saw her started to cry. And it was like, she's like the miracle baby. And yeah, she has a big title, and she keeps up to that title. She's, until that day, really, I have no words to describe how amazing she is.
Every time I've heard you talk or seen just the love between all three of you is just incredible. And did you feel, when she was being born and when you had her, how were you feeling? Because you've had this huge thing go on in your life, and then obviously and even like another big thing when you give birth, your whole life changes. So
it's like the first few weeks, I remember, first of all, we were supposed, like, our plan was that after she gives birth, we will, a few months later, we'll move to Berlin. Because, like I said, my life was between Tel Aviv and Berlin, and I told Leo, well, after she gives birth, I don't want to miss any second of our baby. So we decided we moved to Berlin. Obviously, this didn't happen. The first 2 to 3 weeks, and also even before Eliana was born, I was just grateful to be alive. And I always thought, like who am I to complain? I got my leg. I'm home. I'm safe. We have lost hundreds of our friends. I remember, like I got home, and the first 2 weeks it was still like so many friends that were missing. We had no idea if they were taken hostage in Gaza. We had no idea if they were murdered, and I think the last one that was found, like the last notice that we got as a community was like 3-4 weeks after October 7th. Like imagine, like for so long we had friends missing. So I was always like grateful to be alive and grateful and not complaining. And I went to the healing center, and one of the psychologists spoke to me and asked me, like, said she wanted to speak with me. And then I told her my story in an hour, and then at the end she was crying and hugging me and telling me, you're a hero and you took control of the situation, you kept your wife safe. And I really felt like, okay, I'm okay. Like I didn't know the word trauma even. So like a week later, after October 7th, still while I was in the hospital, we opened a healing center, a place for the survivors and the bereaved families to come, just a safe place. We didn't have much, like we didn't really know what to do, but just knew that no one should be at home and deal with this trauma alone and deal with this pain and this loss alone. So we take over this wedding place.
Say a wedding place.
It's a wedding place. It's called Kochav Hayam in Caesarea and Caesarea. It's well known. My brother got married there 2 months earlier. And we take over this wedding place and turn into like this healing center. It's not a center, but like, it was so beautiful, green grass on the Mediterranean and a lot of like wellness activities. You had like so many people coming and volunteering and yoga and Pilates and doing tattoos and like a lot of activities. Just
I love how different that is. Yoga and healing and tattoos.
Yeah, tattoo artists came and gave free tattoos and people volunteered and donated food and it was just a magical place, to be in while dealing with all the pain. And it was just a place, when I went there, it was no one asked me. I didn't have to explain anything. I could breathe. I felt safe. I was with people that understand me, just with the look in their eyes. And well, at the first days, there was no look in the eyes. It was like hollow. You saw like people were only crying and it was like only darkness. And then as the days go by, suddenly see people, because also the most famous singers came and started to sing every evening, just taking a guitar and sitting in a circle and starting to sing. And you could see like the transformation from the first days and how people, like, their expression comes back and people start to smile. And so I felt really like lucky to be alive and grateful. And I didn't know even like, okay, I'm strong. I started to believe all these things that I took care of this. I took care of the situation. I took control of the situation. And a week after Eliana was born, this is the first time when I deal with trauma, when I understand what trauma is. Like I said, the festivals was my side business, but I did also real estate. And after Eliana was born, my brother says, Ofir, okay, it's been like, over a month and I need you. I need you back, just come back slowly, start to do like, what you're doing. And so it was a Monday morning and I opened my computer, I call my brother, we do this conference call with a few contractors, I write down a list of things to do and say, okay, like I hang up, I do my first assignment, I call this guy, we talk. And right after I finished the first conversation, I look at like the next thing to do, and my body shuts down. I turn off the computer, I turn off my phone, I go into bed, and it's like a panic attack. It's like it's I just, everything turned black. I go into bed, I slept for a few hours, and like it's like you're sick, like you have a fever without a fever. It's like having a flu without like coughing or sneeze, like everything together. And it's a feeling that I never felt before. Yes, like we all have like in our lives, small traumas that happen to us, and sometimes, things sit on your mind and you can't sleep and you think about it and overthink. But this was like something whole different. And this is the first time that I understood, okay, there is something that I have to deal with it. I have to go to a psychologist. I have to treat this because this isn't me. I never felt like this before.
Did you know what was when you were experiencing it? Did you know what was happening for you?
I knew that like the only thought was like, I can't go back to work. I can't go back to work. I need probably need to deal with something, and it was a trigger of something of, suddenly after what happened to me and to so many friends, like we didn't have also like at the beginning the chance to deal with the loss that it was so much. Like I went on Sunday, a week after I got home, a week after October 7th, to one funeral of a friend. This is the first time I cried, in a week, and from this funeral to another funeral. And I missed 10 other funerals because I was in the hospital, and I didn't even have time to grieve, and I didn't have time to understand. Like, it was, it wasn't like a car accident. It happens, you get injured, and then you get home and you deal with this. It was like stretched for so many hours, the day itself, and stretched for so many weeks, getting just the information to understand what happened. And so the first thought was like, okay, I can speak now in German to contractors about apartments, about renovating in Berlin. It was like, it just, it was too much. And then I called my mother because she was like nagging all the weeks before. Ofir, you have to talk to a psychologist. And told her, yeah, I talked to one. She cried and she told me I'm a hero. And then talked to another one. She also cried and told me that I'm a hero. And lucky for me that really my mama insisted, and she gave me a number, and I found really the best psychologist for me. She's amazing. I went like, I was lucky because also in these days like they were missing like 1,000 psychologists just in Israel. They were missing 1,000 psychiatrists. It was a mess. So I started, and I'm still seeing her until this day. I also realized that without something this bad that happens to you, everyone should go. Because the first 2 sessions that I went to, I talked to her about life and about everything else than October 7th. And so highly recommend it.
Great.
Since then this was the start of really of my healing journey. And so we ran this healing center for 2.5 months. With professionals. We learned a whole new vocabulary of trauma, donation, foundation, all these words that were so far away from us. But we had no choice, because to run this place cost around £10,000 a day. And we got a lot of money stolen from the festival. The terrorists came and stole also the bars, the money, and we still owe a lot of vendors, but everyone was amazing. Of course, everyone understand and said, you pay when you have the money. So after running this place for 2.5 months, like after 2 months, we already owe like 2 million shekels. That's around 500,000 pounds. Because again, there wasn't a budget to do it. We just knew this is what we have to do. Mm-hmm. And we celebrated birthdays of our friends. And so of our friends that have been murdered, so we bought T-shirts for the whole family, and we did hired like a singer came, but the whole production cost money. And we did memorials for friends that have been murdered. So we invested a lot of money in this, just, because we needed to do this. And we knew that we were doing the right thing, and we're doing good, and it will come back to us. So after 2 months, with also professionals at the healing center, they tell us, look, what you're doing is amazing. Like, there's one thing to deal with professionals and psychiatrists, but we don't want to feel like sick people all the time. And it's very important to deal with this, to deal with trauma with the professionals, but without the community, it's almost impossible to heal with it. And so what you created here is amazing, because it's like this community, everyone feels safe. And we also realized that this trauma, it's not something that will pass in a few weeks. This is something that we will have to deal with all of our lives with. And then, and if we want to continue to take care of our people, then we'll have to open a foundation with professionals that know how to do so. Even though we became professionals now today, but yeah, you need the right people. You need, like, it was like a foundation. Like, what do we have to do? Like, we're all businessmen. Each one of us has like a different business, and so with the help of really amazing people, at the end of December 23, we already registered the foundation. We helped bring the people. We helped found it, create it, and of course that
December 23. That's literally 2 months after.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
You work fast.
Yeah, we understood from the beginning that, I don't know, we got into this pace because we worked really fast. We created this healing center. We opened the foundation. We already mid-December opened the exhibition in Tel Aviv, because we know that if we stop, then we will have to deal with, our own problems. And so we didn't know it, but it was just, it was like, putting in fifth gear and just trying to go faster the whole time. So these amazing people, we open the foundation, and while we do this, Omisasi, who was with the car with me, who saved my life, he unfortunately lost 3 family members at the festival. They got murdered in a bomb shelter. He was also on the verge. He tells, like, he was sitting at home, like, his whole body, like, he couldn't deal with this, and he said, I have to do something for the memorial. We have to honor our friends. I don't want Nova, like, imagine, out of 1,200 people murdered on that day, over 400 were from Nova. A third from the people murdered, and we know most of them. A lot I don't know, but these are our people, and we have to do something to honor them. And so this is how the idea of the exhibit started. He said, look, we have the canopy, we have the bars, we have the toilets with the bullet holes. Let's recreate all of this, the camping site, the tents, how they were left alone. Let's recreate it in Tel Aviv, in the park, so people can walk through, and we will carve the names in, like, wooden angels and put them, like, on the canopy, so people walk through and honor them. I don't want 411 to be the number that defines that this will be the number of Nova. Their faces, these are friends. I want everyone to know their names. So in 2 weeks, it evolved to this amazing exhibition in Tel Aviv, and it was indoor at the end and not in the park. And we wanted really that people in Israel to understand, like, who we are, what Nova is, what a festival looks like, and to see the names and the faces. Of course, we had also War for the Hostages, so we recreate everything. And a few days after we open the doors, we understand that this is not only for the memorial. In these days, it was like Hanukkah and New Year and Christmas time all over the world. So all of these groups came, all of these Jewish organizations. There were so many missions. I think, 1 million people came, to Israel in these days just to see what happened. So we had over 100,000 people walking through the exhibition in like 2-3 weeks. And everyone tells us, and we see how they got affected and what an impact it made on everyone that walked through this. And everyone tells us, you have to bring it here, you have to bring it there, you have to do this. And we were, okay, we will do so. And I think, but what is really like the strongest, like the best thing about this exhibition, what made such an impact, is that this exhibition tells only what happened at a music festival. It's only about music. It has nothing to do with politics or religion or taking sides. It tells a story about a music festival, about the biggest massacre in the history of music festivals. And no one, probably you will be surprised, but no other music festival supported us. No one wrote something like, people going to a festival should not be murdered. This should not happen. It was like, you know what? I wasn't even looking for that on social media, but it was like the silence. It was so loud. It was like, and it's like, we go to these festivals. Israelis love trance music. To every festival you go, you will see thousands of Israelis all around the world. And the DJs from Israel, they're one of the best DJs in the trance music scene. Also, the UK have one of the best.
Oh, really?
There's Nano Records. It's from the UK, and they're. But we are, we love them. But the best DJs come from Israel. Asterix, Captain Hook, Shamanic Tales. So it's like, it's a whole, and our family, and they. They support us, and it's not easy to be an Israeli DJ or Jewish DJ today, and most of them.
Sorry, is that since everything that's gone on?
Yeah, since, and many of them that were just like, I don't give a. I'm supporting on social media, and many DJs got cancelled because they were from Israel or supported Nova or anything like that. So
what's the thing? It wasn't just the silence; it was also the backlash. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and how such an atrocity can happen, and yet the whole world just flipped against us and turned it against. I say us as in Jews, but Israelis. Like it's crazy.
It's everyone that shares our values and believes in good and humanity and being kind, and then everyone got attacked on that day. But we were, the Jewish people all around the world forgot. They had, I would say, like, the generation of our parents. My grandparents survived the Holocaust. And, the generation of my parents, of our parents, this generation, they lived in the golden age of being a Jew in this world, because the Holocaust happened. And after the Holocaust, it's not allowed to hate Jews, but anti-Semitism was always there. And everyone forgot, and there was always Jew hatred all over the world. When I grew up, in Germany, I remember there was at the synagogue, they threw a grenade at the synagogue, and there's all these isolated incidents all over the world, but no one cares to fight about it, because it's not going to happen again.
But
we
also,
forgot.
I think what's interesting, and I saw it when everything kicked off on October the 7th, that I even had a friend that said to me, oh, but you look at everything and Israelis are getting on with everything. Meanwhile, in Gaza, all of this, and they're suffering. But I don't think people understand that there's people like you, that there's this resilience. It's like you can't lay down and just say, well, woe is me. You've got up and you've gone, all of this happened to me, but I'm going to create a foundation. I'm setting up an exhibition. And I think when you don't play down to that victim side of things, you then don't get the support. It's such a strange.
Look, like two things. First of all, I just mentioned my grandparents. Look, they survived the Holocaust, and they not only like built a country, they created a family in Israel, and they raised us and taught us, to be kind and not to hate. They gave us the tools without even knowing to deal with what happened to us. They didn't even know they're giving me this tool, and I'm happy they didn't live to see what happened to us. But these are our values. This is how we grew up. And on October 8th, all those who consider us as enemies, they were ready. They were ready for many years, preparing this, investing billions in media and changing the narrative in like 5 minutes. They will teach about this in marketing school, for years.
Yeah, it's funny that you said, well, not funny, but it's interesting you said this, because I had a conversation the other day where I said, I feel like this is the best marketing campaign I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It used to be cigarettes back then,
Now it's the Jews.
It used to be cigarettes, but now definitely will, once everything, it will settle down one day. This is what I believe. I have to believe that. But yes, they were ready, and what I believe is that they were running a sprint, doing everything so fast, changing the narrative, paying these protesters all over the States, all over the world. Look, I heard a story about this young college student. Her name is Taryn Thomas. When she's an African American African American student in Stanford, and she told me that when she was going to protest on Black Lives Matters, she was very young. She then, even like when they protest on Black Lives Matters, they saw Palestinian flags in the crowd. So, I'm talking years back. And she thought, okay, so when I see this flag, and then when October 7 happened, I saw this flag, it was familiar to me. It was obvious that they are a minority and don't even have to ask a question, because they already, it's...
Interesting.
I was amazed when she told me that when she was like, I don't know, 16 or going with her family to these protests and seeing already Palestinian flags. And like I said, they were ready. They invested billions in this. But what I believe is that our fight and our, it's a marathon. It's for the long run.
But hold on, don't we control the media?
Well, I hope you control this one.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, if we control the media and the weather, both of them were doing a very, very, very poor job. A very bad job in these days.
Sorry, I'll work harder.
Or maybe you don't control the weather in London. So I believe, that gives us also the purpose. October 7, unite. It was like they woke up the bear. When we are united, we're really unstoppable. And we forgot when we were not united in Israel. We're still not united enough. But with the Jews in diaspora, everyone lived their lives and thought, it's going to be okay. And I think this gives us it unites us, which is very important, and it gives us purpose. And this is why, this exhibition is so important. This is why I do what I do, also because I think of the future of my daughter, and I think of the future in general of Jews and of Israel. And we have to run a marathon. We don't have a choice. And I've seen, when I go back, Taryn Thomas, I've seen a girl like her thinking that the Palestinian flag is a part of her and she relates to it, coming to the protesting, leading the encampments in Stanford University, coming to the exhibition, and then her mind changed. It didn't change that immediately. She said it gave me, understood that I have to educate myself, because what I see on social media, what they say, no one tells me the whole truth. I feel like there's pieces in this puzzle that are missing. I don't see the whole picture, and I have to, if I'm standing for something, I have to at least, ask the right questions and educate myself. So she goes to Israel. She started learning about the history, and today she's become our biggest advocate. She goes to universities, shares her story. She got death threats, isolated. No one's, what she says, and we all know this. It's like when I went to the exhibition and then I had questions, I wasn't allowed to even raise these questions because there's no place for conversation. And now I lost a lot of friends, but I gained a lot of Jewish friends. And when I go to a Shabbat dinner, I'm allowed to ask these questions. There's conversation. Even though I have different thoughts, we still have a conversation about it. And
you're right, it's woken us up. I mean, even in the diaspora in England, I was always like British and Jewish, but British, and everything's flipped. It's like we weren't in Israel. I mean, we didn't go through what you went through, but we felt like you are our family. We wanted to help you. We wanted to know you guys are okay. And it's woken us up.
Yeah, because you wanted to check if we are okay, but this happened to you as well. And I realized this when we opened the exhibition in New York, that, okay, this didn't only happen to us. This happened to every Jew around the world. And then, weeks go by and I meet also non-Jews and I realize, okay, this happened to them as well. And it's insane. It's insane how the world changed so much in such a short time. It was so obvious what is bad and what is good and what is wrong, and suddenly the line between these two, it's insane. It's insane. So,
and people that might feel like, oh, I don't want to go to the exhibition, it's going to be too hard. What do you say to those people? Do you think they need to go, or you're like, whatever?
I think everyone must see this, of course, like from a certain age, but everyone must see this because it tells a story, first of all, about what happened at a music festival, and it's educating. But we built it as a journey. We built it as a journey from the light to the darkness and then back to the light again. We want people that walk through this exhibition, we don't want to traumatize anyone. There's an amazing team that spent hours and hours going over the footage that we will show, and there was a lot of discussion, not to go too far. And of course, the bad stuff are blurred, and we don't want people to walk through and see one video and take this home with them. We want them to walk this experience, and the light at the end, when you enter the light again, it's what happened since October 7th, what happened since October 8th. It tells a story about the foundation. It tells a story about this generation stepping up and taking care of each other and healing each other. It gives hope. You meet survivors and bereaved families who give testimony. There's a stage, we call it the healing room, where you can sit and breathe for a moment and consume everything. But and it tells really all the activities of the foundation and raises awareness that, look, this happened to us. This is part of our story. It's our story, October the 7th. But it's not only our story. When we come together and we take this, this pain and turn it into purpose and healing and taking care of each other, only magic can happen. And this is something that we have to focus on. And so the purpose of when you leave this exhibition is to give you also hope and to give you, to show you, its proportion in life. Look, the survivor, he lost 5 of his best friend. He also got killed, but he sits here in front of everybody, in front of 100 people and shares his story. And the message, it's we don't tell them what to say, okay? They survivors, these delegations who come and give testimony, they all finish with the same, same sentence, like, be kind. We don't hate back. We love, Some of them, yes, they are mad, but, this is the message. And so I really think everyone must see this. Also, the Jewish community needs to see this because I saw how many young Jewish college students who have no connection to Israel. Like you said, you're British. and you may have never been to Israel, and you don't really know what like Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or Haifa looks like, and then you go to the university and you go to college and you start to believe your friends because they get feed what's in social media, and they get miseducated. So it's very important also for the Jews to come and see this and to get educated. I saw how it really, first of all, unites the community, but also gives a little bit air to breathe and something to talk back to, because, how it's like we always need to defend ourselves. We're doing a genocide, you're doing this, like getting accused at the worst things in humanity, and even though it's not true, and this gives you also something to say, okay, you're right, war is bad. We don't want the war. We don't want people to die, and because no one wins at a war. This is bad, but come, look and see what really happened. So, yes, I invite everyone to come and see this.
It is extraordinary. It's incredible how you've done it. Absolutely. I've been. It's amazing. You should go. Not you. You. And you spoke about your foundation and the tribe community that you're building. And I know so many of us, we sort of sit here in other countries and go, what can we do? We know that people are hurting. We know people need help, but we kind of feel a bit helpless. Is there any way that we can help? Can we support your community, your tribe? What can we do? What do you need?
So the biggest, my purpose, and well, of course, this exhibition, it answers a few, purposes. For us, it's to share our story and to raise awareness and to tell the truth. And of course, for our local partners, done an amazing job to get this exhibition here. It's to educate and fight anti-Semitism. But the main purpose for me is to raise awareness for the foundation. There are this community that got affected. The foundation is taking care of 10,000 people today. We have over 3,500 survivors. 2,500 bereaved family members of that first degree. In the last 6 months, we also started to take care of the parents of the survivors, doing activities for them, because we understand that many of the survivors return to live at home, and in order to, it's a word that's, to prevent suicide, something people don't talk about. But we did now, 6 months ago, the first convention in Israel to prevent suicide, giving the parents of the survivors and the survivors tools to know how to deal with, because you don't know how to, to see signs, and it should be something, in our vocabulary to help our friends. Yeah. So it's the parents of the survivors, because we believe that they're the first guardians for the survivors. And now the circle goes wider to also the cousins, and because everyone got affected by it. So, and the mental health, it's something, the trauma, it's something that we will have to deal with all of our lives. So the foundation is focusing on mental health and rehabilitation through a lot of activities. Like the first mission, the biggest mission, is to get them out of their homes. So we have a soccer team, we have a basketball team. Now they added padel, which is some kind of tennis. No?
I've heard about this paddle. It's a big thing.
It's a phenomenon. It's like taking over the world now. And we have, of course, a lot of like water activities and surfing, and we work with 50 different about 50 different foundations that give these activities and help. We do retreats and a lot of programs for mental health and for mentorships, survivors that help other survivors. The second thing it focuses on is commemoration and memorials and helping the families to honor their loved ones and to commemorate them also in the most beautiful way, and also helping the survivors and bereaved families with the third thing is with their rights, of from the government, with rights from Social Security and welfare. So, it's a lot. And, we can do a whole podcast only on activities, but we need every support we can get. We need donations to the Tribe of Nova Foundation. We can get donations here in UK through a charity that is that helps us and also matches this JNF UK. They match 20% of every donation that we get. And yeah, it costs a lot of money. And unfortunately, we don't get enough support from the government in Israel. I would say like over 95% of the funds are from philanthropists from all over the world. The exhibition, of course, it's an amazing platform to raise awareness and raise money. And yeah, we need every help we can get.
And will you give me the link so we can put it in?
Yes.
All the show notes and plaster it everywhere, because I know there's so many people that would love to help. And what you're doing is incredible. Absolutely just beyond. So thank you. I'm so glad before you go back to Israel that we've been able to talk. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And
I hope that next time Leo will also be here and we could do a podcast together.
Absolutely. I would love to. I'm so upset that we missed her, but yes, bring her back. We want to talk to you both. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Thank you very much. And please come to the exhibition. And thank you.